special chess tutorial class. This is not a normal live stream. For anybody who has no idea how to play chess, no idea how it works, this video is for you. Let's jump in and let me turn on my AI companion, Bruce. Okay, Bruce doesn't want to work this morning. Interesting. Anyway, let's get going. Here is a chessboard. We could do this without my friendly AI companion. All right, so you have no idea how chess works. Well, let's start with the basics of the game. Again, I am Jeff, your instructor. I've been playing chess for over 40 years, so pretty good. My ELO is somewhere around 15 or 1600. I play online 3-minute speed games. So here is the game of chess. Let's get right into it. You're going to think of it as an army, okay? This is the battlefield, and these are the soldiers. There's a white army and a black army. I guess who made this game was racial? No, I'm only kidding. Uh, White army, black army. Let's look at the army players. There's a king. The game of chess revolves around the king. The object of the game is to kill the king, which is called checkmate. Don't ask me why they made that, but that's what they did. So when you kill the opponent's king, the game is over. Now, chess is a little bit funny. You don't actually kill the king. The way it works is each of your army soldiers have a special weapon, if you will, and each one shoots bullets, virtual bullets, if you will. The game is over when one of your pieces, shoots bullets at the opponent's king, and the king has no safety squares to go to. So we said this is the battlefield when the opponent's king can't go to any safety square or he'll hit bullets. The game is over, and that is called checkmate. If you shoot bullets at the opponent's king, but that king can move to a square with no bullets being shot at it, then that is half of checkmate, which is check. So, for example, if the queen here would shoot bullets on white's turn, now the way it works is everybody takes a turn. White starts the game. They go first. Then it's black's turn. And then it's white's turn. Nobody ever gets 2 turns in a row, ever. You get 1 move for your turn, and that's it. Then it is the other person's move. Now, like we said, checkmate is when one of your soldiers fires bullets at the king, and the king has no safe squares to move to. He'll get hit by bullets. Then the game is over. If you shoot bullets at the king and the king can escape to any safety square, you shooting bullets at the king must announce out loud the word check. A lot of people forget to say the word check. It's not an official rule. It's just a courtesy. If you take this piece, which is a bishop, and shoot bullets at the king, but the game's not going to end, you should, as a courtesy, say the word check. Kind of like saying four in golf, how you're alerting somebody. Check works the same way. If you're going to shoot bullets at the king, just say check. If you're watching two people play and you hear one of them say check, then you know the king is being shot at. And chess is a nice game because if you shoot bullets at the king, and let's say you forget to say the word check, and the person doesn't move their king, chess doesn't end the game. Chess will, the rules are that you must move your king into a safe square. So, for example, if the bishop would shoot bullets at the king, and this person would forget to say the word check, and the black team moves a different piece, like the horse or the rook. Let's say they forget to move their king out of check. The rules say, hey, that's an illegal move. You can't move anybody else when you're in check. You must move the king out of check. That's a rule. Okay, so there's some of the little quirky rules. Chess has a few quirky rules, but not many. Let's review the soldiers and how each person shoots bullets. First, let's go over the name of each piece. Each team gets 16 pieces to start the game. Pawn. As you're going to see in a normal chess game, you're going to get 8 pawns to start the game. They're going to be lined up. The black side's going to be lined up on row 7, the white on row 2. These are called your pawns. They're the least expensive piece, if you will. There is a unofficial point value. If you want to think of it that way, there's really no points in chess. There's nothing like that. The object of the game is just to kill the king. But if you were to assign point values, a pawn would be worth 1 point. Next is the bishop. This has a pretend value of 3. And then a horse or a knight has the same value as the bishop, though they shoot bullets much differently. But a pretend value would be 3 each. So a bishop is worth more than a pawn, but a bishop is worth the same as a horse or a knight. Now we go up the scale a little bit with a pretend value of 5, and this is called a rook or a castle. Rook or a castle. This has a pretend value of 5. Everybody's given 2 of these to start the game. 2 bishops, 2 horses, 2 rooks, and we're going to look at how they shoot bullets in a moment. Now the most powerful piece on the board is the queen. The queen has a pretend value of 8. She has the most flexibility with her bullets. A queen is usually worth 2 rooks. You could think of them as almost equal. A lot of people trade a queen for 2 rooks. But remember that a queen is more powerful than a rook. A rook is more powerful than a bishop or a horse. And all of them are more powerful than pawns. The king has no value. He's priceless because the game revolves around the king. So let's take a look at how each of these soldiers, if you will, shoot bullets on the battlefield. Now the pawn is the most interesting because it's the only piece that cannot shoot backwards. But it's the only piece that can convert or turn into one of these other more valuable pieces. Well, what do you mean, Jeff? How can a pawn turn into a queen? Let's start with the pawn. Now, the game of chess, if we start and look at the board, this is how you set up the board. This is how the game starts. Each player gets 16 pieces, and white always begins the game. Now, here's another rule. Not only does white begin the game, but whatever color your queen is should be on that color square. So as you see, the white queen is on a white square. The black queen should always be on a black square. That's kind of how you know you set the board up right. So if we look at how the game is set up, this is the battlefield. Look at the second row, all pawns for each player. The rooks or castles always go here on the end. The horses always go next to the castles. The bishops always next to the horses. And the king and queen in the middle. Notice that it's symmetrical. Okay. Now, we talked about starting with the pawn. The pawn starts right here on this row. You can choose to move any piece you want. Remember, white goes first. You're allowed to make any move, one move, as long as it's a legal move, and then it's black's turn. After they make a move, it's white's turn. After they make a move, it's black's turn, and it goes back and forth. There is no limit to the amount of moves you can make. That's not a concern. So, some rules we have to understand. Now remember, this is a battle, a game of war, if you will, army versus army. The object, to kill the king, which is right here. This is the king. Okay, a little rule about the pawns. The pawns can move one square at a time. Let me put the king back. Sorry about that. Here's the rule with the pawns. Normally, they can move one square straight ahead. So, you can choose, it's white's turn. You can choose to move any of these pawns you want one square straight ahead. This is a legal move. You can move this one. Now, you can't take this pawn and cross over to here. That's illegal, and the game will not allow it. So, a pawn, if it's your turn, can go here. Let's say black does this. White's turn. Again, white could move any pawn they want, or they can move the same pawn. And black could do the same thing. And they could do that all the way up the board. Here is the special rule about pawns. Remember we said that a pawn can turn into any one of these four pieces at some point in the game? If you can march your pawn to the very last row of your opponent's army camp, if this pawn during the game could keep marching and get to right here, you get the choice to convert it into any one of these four pieces. So pawns can become a very, very valuable asset. Now, another little quirky about the pawns, quirkiness. Remember that we said they can move One move at a time, straight ahead. Now remember, a pawn cannot move on a diagonal. That is a legal move right there. They can move straight ahead. But there's a little quirky rule. Whoever made chess made a few quirky rules, if you will. I'm getting a low battery warning. Give me a moment to plug in here. Okay. Here's one of the quirky rules of chess, and there's a few. Only on the very first move, you have a choice with the pawns. Now notice when I click on a piece, I've turned on the instruction mode. You can see these little circles. Anytime I click a piece, these little circles are telling you all the legal moves. But Jeff, I see 2 dots, not just one. Yes. If a pawn is still never been touched, on the very first time it moves, you have a choice. You can move it 1 or 2 squares. But that's it. Once you move a pawn, you lose that privilege. Let's click on the pawn and see what squares light up for legal moves. Notice there's a circle right here that this square is the only legal move right now because we took advantage of that very quirky rule that a pawn can move 2 spaces on its very first move. See the 2 dots? So you have 2 choices, 1 or 2. You can do either one. Now remember, if I highlight a piece, see the little circle where the next legal moves are? So a pawn can only move 1 square at a time after its very first move. I know, a little quirky to understand. So let's look at some legal moves to start the game. If I click him, notice the 2 square circles. He could go here or here. That's a legal move. Then it's black's turn. Black can choose any pawn that it wants to. White can choose any pawn that it wants to. Black can do this. Now, that's how the pawn moves. But there's some things to know. If white moves up here, I want you to look at this situation in the middle of the board. The pawns cannot jump over another piece. In other words, if we click it's black's move, if we highlight this pawn, there's no circles. Why, Jeff? Because these pawns are blocking each other. This black pawn can't push through and take this white pawn. They're stuck. But there is a way to get around the white pawn. Well, how's that, Jeff? Let's take a look at how pawns shoot bullets. A pawn shoots bullets. Let's clear the board. Let's say that the game starts like this. Every pawn, there's my daughter. Wave hi to all the chess learners. I'm teaching a chess class. A pawn shoots bullets on a diagonal 1 square. Let's give an example. If the black piece moves here and I click my pawn, look what lit up. Notice the game is showing you a circle here and a little circle here, but a big circle here. What it's telling you is, hey, a pawn has a tiny little gun and it shoots a bullet 1 square on a diagonal straight ahead. So these, if we clear the board, and white goes here, and black goes here, my next move, if we click on it, you can see the big circle. This is an illegal move, and you would capture that pawn, and it's yours. Do we understand that? Let's do it again. Remember we said a pawn can move 1 or 2 squares, and it shoots bullets. 2 squares, it shoots bullets. It shoots bullets to the right and to the left on a diagonal. Let's look at some examples. If black's next move is here, white can certainly take that pawn, and it's off the board and gone. Once you take a piece, it doesn't come back. But remember the rule that if a pawn can keep advancing and make it to the last row of your opponent's camp, you can convert it into any piece you want to. So theoretically, you could get 8 more queens. That never happens, but it's theoretically possible according to the rules of the game. Okay, let's review. A pawn can move 1 or 2 squares. If it has no other pieces to take, it can march straight ahead only. Let's look at another example. Let's say that black does this. And I know we didn't get to the horse yet, and we will. But let's say black leaves his horse there and moves a pawn. And white is now threatening to take that horse on the next move. Let's click on my piece and see the black circle around the knight, meaning that, yeah, you could be captured if you don't move. So let's say black does something like this. Nope, not that. Sorry about that. Okay, the game continues. Let's say black comes over here. White is now threatening to take that horse. And notice this chain here. Pawn's strength is to form chains. Notice this position. This pawn is protecting this pawn. I don't know why the game keeps erasing pieces. But pawns can form a chain. Chains are powerful. Notice that this pawn here can capture this square, but it's occupied by its own piece. You can't take your own piece. But this is called protecting. For example, if a horse was right here, yes, this pawn could take it. But let's say that we have this situation where this pawn is protecting this pawn. If this horse takes this pawn, we're going to take the horse right back. And that would be very bad for the black army. You don't want to give up a piece that's equal to 3 points virtually for a pawn. So you can see that forming a pawn chain is powerful. This is a pawn chain. They're strong. They all back up each other. Okay, enough about pawns. Let's move on to the next piece. This is a beginner's tutorial. If you have no idea how to play chess, this video is for you because it's too wonderful and amazing of a game to go through this life without knowing how to play and watching people who are great playing it. and it's a wonderful way to spend time with somebody in a park. All right, let's move to the next piece. We already looked at what the pawn does and how it shoots bullets. Let's look at the bishop. How does a bishop shoot bullets? Remember that we said this is a black army and their soldiers against the white army. Uh, this is a game of war. The object is to kill the king, and each of the army soldiers shoot bullets a particular way. We looked at how the pawn shoots bullets. Let's look at a bishop. Notice if I click it, you're going to see all the available bullets. Let's look. See the little circles? Because we're in teaching mode. Notice all the bullets are in a diagonal. This bishop shoots bullets frontwards and backwards in the shape of an X, and it can go all the way across the board. Look at all the squares that it covers. Now, you have two bishops. One is going to be, if we look at how the board is set up, everybody starts off with two bishops. One is on a white square, one is on a black square. Now, remember what we said. If I click it, you're going to see where the bullets go. The black square bishop can only shoot bullets on a black square. This black square bishop will never be able to touch a white square at all. Never, in any circumstance. Same thing for the white bishop. Look where the bullets, they're all on white squares in the shape of an X. The bishop cannot march like a pawn. No, it can't. That's illegal. A bishop can go all the way across the board if it has an available piece. So let's take a look at some examples. Black goes here. This is a legal move for the bishop to follow all the diagonals. It is shooting bullets, and if we click on it, notice that there's a circle around the black castle or rook. Why? Because it's in the path of the bullets. Now, notice you can't shoot bullets through a piece. So, for instance, if I click my bishop, notice that there's no circle around the horse or around this castle because it ends as soon as it hits a piece. So the bishop can take this pawn or this pawn. This is a legal move. And now it's black's turn. So that is a very simple way to look at the bishop. In the shape of an X, let's look at it again. We get two bishops to start the game, black and a white bishop. And they have their own squares they could shoot. So look at all the circles in the shape of an X, all the way forwards and backwards. All right, let's look at the horse. Very, very unique piece. If I click on it, you're going to see some interesting circles. The horse is the only piece in chess that can hop. What do you mean, Jeff? Well, a horse actually jumps up into the air and lands. Look at the square, look at these circles. Notice it's in the shape of a circle. The horse moves in the air. So, for instance, if it was surrounded, That horse is not trapped. Any other piece would be trapped, but not the horse. Notice where the circles are. Let me show you a legal move. That horse can jump up into the air, and here's how it jumps. In any direction, it goes 1, 2 straight, and then right or left. Let's look. 1, 2 in the air, and then lands right or left. This is a legal move. 1, 2, right. That was a completely legal move. What about this bishop? 1, 2, right. 1, 2, left. Notice that you see circles here representing all the legal spots that it shoots bullets. So this bishop right here is in jeopardy of being taken. 1, 2, left. That is a legal move for white. And notice that it jumped over other pieces. None of the other pieces can do that. You can't jump over any pieces. Only the horse. 1, 2, right. 1, 2, left. 1, 2, right. 1, 2, left. Legal moves. And you don't have to take a piece. Where, as we looked at the pawn, a pawn can only march straight ahead unless it takes a piece. Then it can move on a diagonal. But not so for the other pieces. The other pieces don't have to take another piece to move to its wherever it's shooting bullets. The pawn is the only piece that shoots bullets to the right and left. And it can only march straight, but it can shoot this way. That's a legal move. Great. Let's take a look at the castle, or called the rook. If I click on it, notice it's completely opposite of a bishop. The rook, look at all the squares that it shoots bullets in the shape of a plus sign. It can go to any of those squares that you see. This is a legal move. 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 What's illegal? The rook cannot go diagonally. Notice there's no circle there. This is an illegal move and not allowed. But here, or here, or here, or here. And remember the point value. A rook is worth 5. These pieces are worth 3, though there are no points in chess. It's just a value. Now we covered the bishop, which is in the shape of an X, the horse, which is 1, 2, right or left, and the rook is in the shape of a plus sign. Now we get to the queen, the almighty powerful queen. Let's see where the queen can shoot bullets. Whoa! Look at all the squares that the queen can go to. The queen can move like a bishop and go diagonally all the way across the board. These are legal moves for the queen. It can move exactly like a bishop. It also can move like a rook or a castle in the shape of a plus. Starting to see how powerful the queen is? Well, Jeff, can the queen move like a horse? No, it cannot. If we look, 1, 2, right, there's no circle there. 1, 2, left, no. The queen does not act like a horse. Only the horse can hop in the air. And the queen is really a combination of the rook and the bishop. Okay, lastly is the king. The king is also an interesting piece. Let's see if we light it up. Wow, Jeff. It looks like the king only has squares all around it, little circles all around it. That's right. The king can move only one square in any direction. These are legal moves. One square, diagonally, straight, left, right, and it can take. But there is one little interesting rule with a king. It cannot take another king. This will never be seen in the game of chess. The kings are not allowed to be next to each other. They always must be at least one square apart. If it's white's turn, he cannot go here. That's illegal. Not allowed. You're not allowed to put the king next to the king. No. The game will not allow that. You can use the king as a blockade. One square, any direction. And yes, the king can take any piece on the board. Those are all legal moves. Okay, we've covered all the pieces. Let's take a look at the game of chess from the beginning. And let's look at some examples of checkmate. Let me show you what checkmate is. We talked about the king not having any squares to go to, and the game is over. So for instance, I'm going to show you checkmate. If we put the queen right here, notice all the, look, the king's in a circle. Is this checkmate right here? Yes or no? No. The game is not over. Why? The queen is very close to the king, Jeff. Yes, but notice the king has a safety square with no circle on it. The king can step out of the way of the queen's bullets right here. Remember, the queen does not shoot bullets like a horse. Is this checkmate? Yes or no? No, it's not, Jeff. Because if we look at the queen, again, the king can move to safety right here. Let's give some more examples. Is this checkmate? Wow, let's take a look. The queen covers these two squares, this square, and this square. The pawn is attacking the king. Remember we said pawns can move diagonally one square to the right or left. Yes or no? Is this checkmate? Take a moment. Think it over. If this is the exact board, the king, the white army just said check. Is it checkmate? We said if the king's got nowhere to go, the game's over. He can't go here. He can't go here. He can't go here. And he can't go here. Anybody guessing? Is this checkmate? No, this is not checkmate. What do you mean, Jeff? You said if the king can't move to a safe square, he's dead. And he has bullets being shot at him from the pawn. This should be checkmate. No, it's not. Why? Because the king can take the pawn. Did you see what I did there? The king can take the pawn. The pawn was not protected. Now, if the pawn was protected, now you have checkmate. The king cannot take this pawn because this pawn is protecting it. The game is over. If it was white's move from here, this would be checkmate. But there's also another way to do checkmate right now if it's white's turn. Can you find it? What other legal move would be checkmate? Take a moment and look. Let's look at what each piece, how they shoot bullets. The queen is shooting bullets here and here. The queen's not shooting bullets right now at the king. We know that if white pushes the pawn up, it's checkmate. Where else would be checkmate? Right here. The queen is protected. Remember, we said the king can take a piece to get out of checkmate. But in this case, he cannot because the pawn is protecting the queen. If the pawn was here, that is not checkmate. The queen is unprotected, and the king could simply gobble her up. Understand? Let's look at another example of checkmate. I'm going to show you how to checkmate your opponent in 2 moves. Ready for this one? 2-move checkmate. What, Jeff? That's impossible. How could we possibly checkmate the king in 2 moves? Yes, you can. Let's watch. But the moves must be done exactly like this. White starts the game off, very typical fashion, with the pawn up 2. Remember, you have a choice to move 1 or 2. Let's say black responds with this move. Let's say white moves here. And let's say black moves here. Nice chain, right? No. That was a terrible move. Why? Can you find checkmate? Take a look. Look at all the dots. Those dots represent all the legal moves for white. Do you see one that would end the game? I do. Right here. That is checkmate. Why, Jeff? I could just block, or I could move out of the way. Normally you can, but not in this situation. Look, if we look at the queen, she's shooting bullets at the king. Remember, the king can't jump over a piece. He can't go through a piece. He's stuck. These pieces are blocking the king. The king can only move to this white square right here. The queen would take the king. We look at it again. This game is over. No matter where the king goes, he's being shot at. And he's got nowhere to avoid the bullets. The horse is not, we need somebody to block right here. The bishop is not blocking because it's a black bishop. It can only go on these 2 black squares. The horse, 1, 2, left or right, is not blocking the bullets. The rook can't do anything. It's stuck. because there's a pawn in front of it and a horse to the left of it. The rook is pretty much useless right here. This game is over. But let's say that the situation was like this and white made its move. Now is the game over? No, it's not over now. Why? Because the king can escape to right here. Did you see that? The king can step out of the way of the bullets safely. So you just got a good look at checkmate. Let's look at what we call the fool's mate. This is a very typical situation when you play a beginner. White goes here. Black says, okay, I'll do the same thing. And this is how most chess professionals start a game. Now, if white comes here with a bishop, let's say black 1, 2, left. Looks good, right? Let's say white brings the queen out. Let's say black says, you know what? I'm going to attack this bishop. Does anybody see checkmate on the next move? Take a look. The game is over if white makes the next correct move. This, my friends, is checkmate. It's called the fool's mate. And if you're a beginner, you're probably going to get trapped into it. If you're more advanced and you're playing a beginner, it's a good way to checkmate the king very early. Why is this checkmate? Well, the king cannot take the queen because the queen is protected by the bishop. King can't move out of the way of the bullets. He's dead. That is checkmate. All right. So now you guys know enough to play a game of chess. So I am going to play a game for you. Let's see. I'll play somebody. Now, we didn't even talk about the clock. In speed chess, there's a clock. And if the time runs out, you lose no matter what. So I'm going to play one game for you. All right? In this game, if you see the word blitz, that means it's going to be a short game. This is a 5-minute game. Each team, each army is going to get 5 minutes for the whole match. If your time runs out first, you lose. I'm going to play a real person. Now you can see my rating is 1448. His rating is 1453. I got to move pretty fast here because I only have 5 minutes for the whole game. And this guy's rated higher than I am. A little bit. You guys can go to chess.com, sign up for a free account, and you can play against a computer. You can pick the skill level, or you could do what I'm doing, and chess.com will let you play anyone. It'll match you up with somebody who's similar to your skill level. If you win, chess.com will give you anywhere from 8 to 10 points, and your rating will go up. See my rating is at 1448. His is 1453. There's his clock. It's running. There's my clock. It's stopped. He's thinking. And over here, we'll go over in another lesson how to write down the moves. He made a pretty good move here. I'll move my queen up. Now, I know you saw a funny move right here, the king getting tucked away in the corner for both of us. and we'll teach you that. It's a little bit advanced. There are couple quirky rules, as I told you. That was one of them. It's called castling. But for beginner purposes, I don't want you to worry about castling. If you guys want to, you can send me a friend request, Daily Dose of Jeff, and you can become my friend on chess.com. I'm chasing his knight away by attacking it. He did good. He's attacking my queen with his bishop. I'm going to block the attack. So now his horse, he's got to move his horse out of the way because his horse is under attack right now. Now, you guys aren't going to be this highly rated when you start. You'll probably be somewhere around 200 or 300, maybe 500. Now I'm going to move my rook and line it up with his queen, and I'm shooting bullets at his queen. He's going to want to block or move the queen, which he just did. Now I got two knights in the center. You want to try to get your pieces in the middle. That's where they're most effective. And also, I'm going to do what's called trading, just to show you guys. I normally wouldn't do this, but I'm going to trade my horse for his horse. I took his, he's going to take mine. He's probably wondering why I'm doing that. I'm only doing it to teach you guys. So now my horse is under attack. I'm going to have to get him out of here. The game revolves around these four squares in the center. You want to try to control these squares. So now he's threatening my horse here. I could move it. Probably not the best idea. I'll bring the queen over to protect it. He's down to 2 minutes and 56 seconds. I have 3 minutes and 10 seconds left. I hope you guys got something out of this tutorial. I'm going to end it after this game. I hope that you learn to play chess. Enjoy it. Go to chess.com, free account. They have all kind of lessons and everything. Now his queen can take that pawn, which he did. And now this pawn is under attack. Sure why he moved this thing back there. Connecting your rooks is always a good idea. But he definitely missed some opportunities. He could have punished me. I'm not in a very good position here. But I'm more interested in just teaching you guys. He has to be a little bit careful here what he's doing. His time is getting low, a minute 30. When you play speed chess, it's a whole different dynamic. So he wants my bishop to move. Now I'm threatening this pawn up here. I took this pawn. He's down to 1:07. He's falling behind on time. He's got to be careful. He's getting greedy. I'm threatening his queen. He has 50 seconds. "40 seconds. "30 seconds. His queen's under attack. He moves it out to safety. I'm attacking his rook now. 20 seconds left. He's in trouble. I'm going to take away his rook. Honey, have a great day. Now that he has 10 seconds left, I'm just going to back off and let his clock run out. He knows he's in big trouble here. 5 seconds. I'm just killing the clock. Killing more time. 2 seconds left. He's trying to move fast, but it's not going to do him much good. Your phone, honey? I don't know. He's just about out. And next move would have been checkmate. So there you go, folks. He ran out of time, but the next move would have been checkmate anyway. And chess.com will let you review your game. And you can see I had 7 excellent moves, 14 best moves, 1 great move. He definitely could have punished me in that game. A few ways he missed. So I hope you enjoyed this chess tutorial, everyone. End my stream. I don't know why it was ending the stream. I hope you guys got something out. I hope that you play the game. And I really hope that you study the video. If you have any questions, send me a friend request, Daily Dose of Jeff on chess.com. It's for free. It'll give you a lifetime of enjoyment, a great way to spend quality time with someone. It's great for your brain. I love to wake up and play a game of speed chess. It gets the brain going, flowing, keep the brain cells moving, strengthening your brain, and it's a lot of fun. And chess.com has thousands of players on it, and it will automatically match you up with somebody at your skill level. So get on there, jump in, go to the online mode. It'll just pick a player at random across anywhere around the world. You can chat with that player. Afterwards, you can hit the analysis and you can review your game, and the chess.com will show you what moves were best. And there's just so much to learn from there. But for you guys just getting started, play a friend, have them sign up. You guys can send each other friend requests on there, play on your phone. Um, just so many, I hate to see this opportunity get wasted, guys. So if you have any questions, please put them down in there and let me know if this was a useful video. And if you guys become a little bit more advanced, let me know if you want me to do a more advanced chess video, and we'll do another chess class online. Thank you, everybody.